Alrighty, hello Twitch and hello YouTube. We are back with the Roottrees, which for what I assume is going to be the last little episode of our mini-series here. We're going to be looking into the unknown person. Oh, I jumped up into the red. I apologize. This is what happens when I start messing with my settings. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump in with the continue. So yeah, last time we finished filling out the family board here. We got everything locked in, but now we have to question, who's this guy? He was a farmhand. This is the only picture that we had left unaccounted for, and now we have to figure out what are the two names here. EC, easy enough hint. Well, I say an easy enough hint. Also, we are just going to start off here. EC. Figure out who his spouse was and what his full name is. So, we're going to click here, or click in here, I should say. And I think the best place to start is going to be here. And try to find wherever it says something about EC. I don't think there's anything that starts here. I think it starts in one of these two passages. So, Dynasty, Lord Roottrees, successor. No, because Sam wasn't introduced. Yeah, so it's about an entry entitled Sam. Why Sam? I have many distant relatives I've never met. After all, Granny had sisters and Granddad had a brother or two. But I was told trim those branches from the family tree. So why is Sam special? Nothing adds up. And I'm not the only one who realizes this. Summoning people, I didn't recognize Sam at Uncle Junior's party. Complicated. Sam, EC, and John when he used to drive past the old Anderson farm. Eli, Miracle's youngest, not my brother, even chimed in. To do farmhand, Sam gave him some old tools and taught him how to make a bike engine faster. None of us thought it was proper for a multitude of reasons, but Eli seemed thrilled. Thicker than water. Clark. This is about Clark, and I don't think it's necessarily important. Okay, so that wasn't great. I remember reading stuff about him. I'm just trying to place where. Where was the... There it is. Revisiting. Scandal Secrets. Question Shock Sam. Oh, okay. That happened in the decades between the Roottrees. When a certain name was read aloud, Samantha Roottrees, although Sam and her children were not meant to receive monetary inheritance. He had a stipulation. Yep. The 5 pieces were surprised. It was quite a shock to everyone else, including Sam, who had been told her parents died. Apparently, Sam was the illegitimate child of those two. Baby Samantha was sent to the Roottrees. Ellis hid her away from with the local farmhand known as EC. Okay. I feel like a sneeze is trying to start, but it's not quite there. None of the next gens heard of Patricia, yep. Kai's husband died. She reunited with Eli Jr. That's nice. Placed in the Roottrees family. Clearly, I did not know our true family history when I wrote this. I didn't even know Sam was a Roottrees. All my doubts were ill-founded. She's a fine woman. Had she had the chance to grow up with us, Sam might have been the sister figure. Yep. Earning the kids, we're lucky to have her. It had been a long time since any Roottrees interested as Ernie as a bonus with What I'm most ashamed of is not figuring it all out myself. Sam's a spitting image of Patty. Yep. It's hard to explain the look on his face when it would be passed to her, as long as I got flashbacks when Zach was made president, mother refrained, we received any candy money. Yeah. So I've never met the CC person, and I expect that Sam had grown up with him in his house and Mr. Miller. So we know his spouse. That's a weird connotation. His spouse. Obviously his spouse. I'm not trying to make it sound bad. Back in this time, it would not have been allowed to be called a spouse, but you know what I'm trying to go for here. Sorry. Junior Patsy. But she hated them because, of course, you would hate them. That's about Clark. Names. I get it. For Eli's, for Pete's sake. Things are annoying that way. One thing, yeah, that was the consistent hint that I think came like way too late to be useful, but hey, okay. I remember receiving one certified mail for an Edward Clancy Roottrees. Well, that's gonna be his name. He's EC. He was gay, so like, I highly doubt that he's going to be considered part of the family. Which is interesting because that would mean he would be part of the 5 pieces, but he's not. But like, then their entire brand is based off of the 5 pieces, right? It's Miracle. Well, okay, so this is M for Miracle. Wait, where did I get... This is the Sweet History Volume 2. And that means this would have had to... Let's highlight that for a second and go here. I'm curious if just... Oh, helps if I don't. Ah, okay. Published 1984, hardcover, history, advertising, nonfiction. This is a book about all things candy throughout history. It starts with historical accounts dating back to ancient Egypt, and it chronicles candies through 1924. It includes some print advertisements for companies you've heard of, including an extremely early newspaper ad for 5 pieces that Charles Lee included during a major misprint added to the evidence. EC egg cream. Wait. GECEM. Wait, am I just stupid? GECMM. But the candy exists. Okay. Actually, because of a spelling error on the word available near the bottom. Near the bottom, it states that these were inspired by their children. Okay, so they got rid of one of them because he was gay. solves that a little bit. His name is Edward Clancy Roottrees. And you're something Miller. But this is related to them. And she was actually a big name too. What are my notes on him? Oh. Wait. Very little. Good, cool. House seemed true. He was big into architecture. Where did I get the... I think I got the name from here, right? No, I think it was from here. It's talking about anger. I got angry. She was dirty and did not have a pretty dress. Me and Pop walked home. So I'm assuming this was Sam. Wait, no, that doesn't make sense. When I met a new girl who I did not like, pitty dress, hugged him, and I told him he was my Pop. She pushed me, yelled at her, and Pop said to treat her nice, then said, your Pop is my dad. Okay. First thing she could find, she ever wrote. Man, I keep feeling like I have to sneeze and then it doesn't happen and it's like maddening. Release of her diary. It's not a companion piece, but rather a fun bonus, apparently. She ever wrote. She believes teacher's name. She believes based on the teacher's name it was 3rd grade. She doesn't exactly remember. And Sam. Patsy. Scandal. Yeah, because she was like a person, right? Steel was a steel company. On a World War II history page, you find that it contributed to the war effort by creating parts for vehicles, but after that went out of business. Christian Steel. Both are mentioned in a book review for that. Softcover nonfiction. This is a book of historical letters with an erotic twist. Each letter is accompanied by context from the book's author. A page from the book has been added to your pages. Steamy correspondence. Oh, it's literally okay. In 1934, someone who goes by Patch wrote a letter full of innuendo to an unknown gentleman. Who it is clear she had a romantic history with. Patch is thought by the book's author to have been Patricia Christensen, a daughter of the owner, Christian Steel. Her nickname was Pat, and CH was the first 2 letters of her last name. Was known to appreciate wordplay like this. Is that wordplay? Feels like just shitty abbreviation. Patricia, who had been in her mid-20s when the letters were written, was married to an older man of no notable status. This letter was most definitely not to him. There are also a few passages after the steamy bits that mention a daughter, leading Tina Aguilina to theorize that the letter was written to the father of a child she hid from society in some way. The letter ends on a mention of a twisted twin that seems to invoke imagery for classic literature. If not for her story, yours and mine would be the most tragic tale ever told. However, how awful is it that such beauty was ripped from its rightful fate and worse, sent to live in possession of your brother's twisted twin. Okay, so this is just more like they don't like gay people. I got that. Okay. Left an outcast, forced to live a life of labor under a wicked relative. God, dude. I understand this is from 1928, but like, stop. It's like something from the start of children's fable. She deserved not the life she had been sentenced to. I can't stand to be apart from you both. Someday I shall return to you, and I pray that he has not corrupted her to know his sins. I swear that on the joyous day, with all the strength I can muster, I will fight for our child's freedom. Let us pray for her fable. Tina has no theories about the more crystal. Okay, well, that's because it's not that cryptic. James Gwendolyn. So to explain what I'm doing real quick, this passage here was that to do why Sam, where is it? EC and John. So swore he saw Sam working alongside the farmhands EC and John. So I'm just like double checking to make sure from these two generations there's no like John. I don't think so. That leads me to believe that this has to be John Miller. So we have Edward Clancy Roottrees. He was a farmhand, that's his picture, and he was essentially like the old-timey version of not married to John Miller. And they were the guardian of Samantha, who was their indiscretion until they got properly married and everything got worked back in. So, that's not a clever. I don't know. I'm feeling like that's not a clever twist, but we'll see. Here we go. Confirm. Well, I finished The Roottrees Are Dead. Final optional entries you found. None. You did it! Family tree complete! Oh, it says correctly. Okay, so yeah, we were right. Booyah.
So,
I guess
you
I
thought
misspelled
EC
John.
was Edward Clancy Roottrees, and his partner was John Miller?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I needed to hear.
Why didn't it go yellow?
I'm Sam Madsen, though you know me as Samantha Roottrees. Yep, I got old. The only picture you have of me is from 40 years ago.
To be honest, you don't really look 60, so...
My book tells the truth about Elias, of 5 pieces, and my parents.
Your parents being John Miller and...
Not my biological
Yeah.
parents, Elias Jr. and Patsy. My fathers, Edward Clancy Roottrees and John Miller. By now, you've either read Lorne's diaries, or you're just an incredible guesser.
Yeah, that wasn't hard necessarily to piece together, so...
Lauren was right. I hated the 5 pieces. She just didn't know my full reasoning.
Yep.
My father, Edward Clancy, was a great man. But his identical twin Clancy and his father, Elias, were not.
Yes, he... Jeez, don't explain a twist that was obvious to us by having to solve the puzzle.
At age 16, my father was caught kissing a farmhand.
Yeah, cool, you're just explaining the stuff we'd had to piece together to solve the puzzle.
Back then, they wouldn't even acknowledge gay people existed. Having one in the family was unthinkable.
Just to be clear, I don't mind this. I'm just annoyed that they're explaining things to us, which we would have had to deduce to get to this point to begin with. So, like, what are we doing?
The same year, I was born. A bastard granddaughter. 2 stains on Elias's perfect family. He decided to fix both. They tried to erase Edward Clancy. They even removed his 5 pieces flavor. His name was deemed a dirty word. He became EC.
Yeah.
We were sent to the farm, and the 5 pieces did their best to keep the next generation away, to isolate me from family.
Well, yeah, because rich people are typically jerks of a kind.
But Elias couldn't erase us from existence. Laura never realized I was the little girl from her diary.
Oh, that explains it. Okay, never mind. So that part I now understand, because I was a little confused about that. Because they're twins, she went up to her because she was a young girl thinking, okay, that part makes sense now. That was helpful. I'm not saying this section is excused, but that part was helpful.
Who could blame me for being so confused that day? Her father was an exact copy of mine, except without the beard.
Except you got confused by the beard as... okay. Maybe if you get it right... I mean, fair, I guess. But then, like... that's a really... I mean, I guess that's how you have to play mystery games, right? So, like, it ends with the... It ends with a explanation. Like, hey, you tried, but no. But at this point, if you're at that point in the game, like, it shouldn't be terribly hard to figure it out. I would think, or hope, rather. Because you've done enough of, like, the game's mechanisms to reinforce how to research and look for new bits of information. Granted, they don't give you the magnifying glass, the intuition, so, like, you don't know where to look necessarily.
And while the 5 pieces celebrated a new factory, farmhands did the real work. It's a fluke there's a picture of my father at all. But there he is in the background. The 6th 5 piece.
It is kind of amusing that the only picture we have of him is of the one called the 5 pieces, which is like the first bigger piece of information you get, and it's like the secret was there all along. But if you're like me and just like click all over anyone with a face on these things, like it's not oh, we just found the photo. We were like, where does he go? He doesn't go anywhere. Who is this guy? Why does he have a picture?
Patsy returned, and things got complicated for Elias. She fought for my freedom, from a life she deemed unworthy. Elias relented, so long as I never learned the truth or receive inheritance. They knew I'd help my father. At Elias's will reading, I learned part of the truth. The rest I learned at home. I began to hate the 5 pieces. My father made me stay silent. He was worried history would repeat, and that his grandchildren would become outcasts. His fears weren't unfounded. As you know, my son Ernie died a few years ago. He had trained to take over as president.
Yeah, that's the part that still confuses me, because, like, the way their system works is the president gets paid whatever the current price of a 5-piece is, which is, like, $3. But this part of the brand, well, I guess Sam and her offspring became legitimized, but literally with the stipulation that they can't earn candy money. So I don't know how Ernie would be the president.
But due to family politics, or perhaps hubris, it went to Guy. A real Roottrees. He nearly ruined the company.
Oh. Okay, but that doesn't make sense though, because like his title is literally the third president. So like that implies that he held the presidency. Really trained to succeed. Yeah, that one's a little weird. Like I get what they're saying. He was in line to be the third president. That's the only thing you need to know for the story. But like if he never technically held it, that wasn't his occupation.
When Ernie took over, he saved the operation. Over 13 years, he made the family billions.
Wait, no, because yeah, oh sorry, I'm getting this mixed up. It went to Guy, then went to Ernie, but like Ernie Jr. is part of her family tree, so he was the fourth president. But
Ernie earned about $36.
okay.
They got by on Debbie's salary,
Oh.
but when he fell ill, he couldn't pay his medical bills. His death was my
would you
tipping
be?
point.
Okay, let's stay with me now. Why would you be the CEO of a massive company and accept, I can only assume, a massive amount of stress from an entire family that hates you by getting paid $36?
Originally, my book was meant to expose Elias's hypocrisy. Until I started to look into the other dirty laundry. Ron tried to have Robbie removed from the trust, but couldn't. Robbie was a blood relative, even out of wedlock.
Yeah, so that means your dad should have gotten money?
That sounded familiar. The Clancid Trust that Elias established was designed to secure his family's future. His entire family's future. He couldn't write exceptions in without the whole thing falling apart. My book can definitively prove that Elias was not the paragon of virtue he's heralded as.
Okay, so you're just like, yeah, no significantly old person from history is.
And that my daughter and granddaughters are just as much family, at least in the eyes of the trust, as anyone else.
That part makes sense.
The Clancid Trust will secure their future. They can decide what to do with their shares. But I'm old, and I'm not in it for the money.
Money is always useful even if you're old.
The truth has been eating away at me for years. But now, I can set the record straight. Thanks to you.
This feels like you didn't have to hire a genealogist. Now, granted, games gotta happen, but like, you know.
As someone who enjoys searching for the truth, you might understand the power it has. Whitewashing the past to protect the status quo can lead to repercussions in the present and future.
I'm gonna just let this linger on the page, on the screen for a little bit. Not gonna say anything. Twitch has certain rules about what you can mention about certain things, but just Okay, moving on.
So thank you. You knocked it out of the park. With your expert work, the truth will come to light. And when it does, my share of the Clancid Trust is yours. Like I said at the beginning, set for life.
But your share of the Clancid Trust, unless you're getting back pay, which you might, because that, would end when you end. So, like, it's more like set for maybe 10, 20 years. Not a bad reward for one job, but...
Looking at the family tree on your wall, now with my father's, everything finally feels complete. Unless a whole lot more Roottrees somehow appear from thin air, this is the last time I'll come knocking. Thanks again, and so long.
I can afford more posters, guys.
We're rolling on down to the sea.
Sam Manson's book was published. It received mixed reviews. That's about right. Life went on and a new president took over the company. The Roottrees family faded from the news cycles. Life marches on. And then everything changed. There's another mystery to solve. Roottrees Mania is now unlocked as a new game. Okay, there's actually more game. I thought that was going to be it. I'm a secret root tree. So, find out what happens to the most infamous family in a whole new mystery. Oh. We'll spoil unlock content. Make sure you tied up any loose ends before starting. I mean, yeah, we going to slot 2 there. Okay. Oh no, there's so much more. Well, that's good. I like this game, so I'm happy there's more. Oh god!
Hi, I'm Clark. Probably not who you expected to be knocking, but life's funny sometimes.
You're the one that probably has so many kids out of wedlock.
You've done well staying anonymous. It took us a while to track you down. A lot has happened in the last year. Far too much of it public. But there's stuff going on behind the scenes, too. I never wanted to be president. I'm not great with
What?
stress. With my mother's deteriorating I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here because part of the fallout of Sam's book is that everyone's coming out of the woodwork.
Oh man.
Now that it's public knowledge that Clancy Trust covers any root tree despite their history with us, a lot of potential cousins have surfaced. You may have seen that man on the cover of News Time. It was a disaster for us. And then Miracle went and made it all about himself.
Perfect.
The long and short of it is a lot of potential cousins just showed up. Sam's helping some of them, but she's not really going about it the right way. And she's not taking calls from anyone in the family. I let it slip through a mutual friend that I found you, and I was stopping in.
Oh, cool.
It's manipulative, but I'm hoping she'll reach out to you. You can let her know I'm on her side. In the meantime, if you're willing, I can share our files with you. Pass them along to Sam if she reaches out. I'm genuinely hoping she'll realize I'm an ally. Feel free to do your own research. I've been told you enjoy things like this. To each their own.
Wellity. So essentially it's been a year, yeah. That's kind of cool. I like that it's continuing. Which means there's going to be more videos of this. I don't know if that's to anyone's dismay or happiness, but there was a knock at your door. That guy, current president. I don't know why you meant current president. That's crazy. He writes jingles. Also, I like the soft, like, piano and jazz with the rain. It's nice. Explain that multiple people have come out of the woodwork to claim the Roottrees. He has been trying to work with Sam, but has not answered his calls. Both are... He also handed you a letter that he said you could share with Sam. Also, did my journal reset? It did reset. Interesting. Well, not interesting. It makes sense. But to both of you, the company I hired to help us with the Clancy Trust is busy pouring through the entire family's history, as well as people they may have had contact with. That said, the family is not particularly happy with this and are doing their best to slow things down. Many of them are actively avoiding our interviews. Each time there's a high-profile public case, it causes headaches. So please, I don't mind if you do your research, but I ask that you stop going to the press. Instead, we have a highly trained team of lawyers to back you up. We're ready and willing to verify anyone and everyone you believe could be realistically part of a relationship that led to the birth of a new root tree. Just tell us who to investigate by filling in the new sections of the tree, and we'll take the time to handle verifying the timeline checks out. But keep in mind why we're here. If someone didn't have a child or has already been disqualified by our lawyers, like in the case of the girl in the negative DNA test, there won't be a place for them on the tree. We're here just looking for affairs and infidelities, where we're only looking for the ones that led to a potential new root tree. Some spots in the new section will be marked with the tree icon. Those areas are reserved for members of the original family tree you filled in 8 months ago. Just like last time, be sure to use birth names for everyone you add. Married names or nicknames won't be enough. To start sorting out the infidel... Holy crap, this is like how many sheets of paper that you... start sorting off infidelities, I recommend you turn your eye to men in positions of power. I'd love to say that's only because it would have been a lot harder for the women to hide 9-month pregnancy, 9 months of pregnancies and birth without the family notice, but I can't. I'll be blunt, I'm no stranger to infidelity. I wish I could claim that I was a perfect husband, but you've seen the family tree, so why pretend? Well, at least you're honest. Some of us learned how to wield our family name and fortune to our benefit, consequences be damned. I can't change the past or unhurt those who I've betrayed. Instead, all I can do is be honest with myself and to you. I refuse to make any more mistakes and do my best to sort out the various messes we've left behind. So please fill in the family or fill in the tree, and together we can figure out how to begin to make amends. Good luck and thank you both. Okay. So, what's interesting about this is I feel like reading it is not required, right? Because it's everything that we did before. Except it has the intuition, which means that there's pieces of information here that are going to help us fill out the new tree. Now we'll look at the new tree here in a second, but 6 pieces, the root tree rift, his own name, 5 P's, root tree mania, and Anonymom, 11 pieces. Today is August 3rd, 1999. It has been 8 months since you helped Sam Madsen with the research necessary for her book. Sam was true to her word and paid you an incredibly large sum of money. She never mentioned you by name, however, so you've managed to keep a low profile. The Roottrees, on the other hand, have not. Below is a summary of notable events since the book's release, though you can refresh your memory in full detail by searching online. 6 pieces. Sam Manson's book about Ellis Rootree was released in February. It was a bestseller for a few months. At the time, Carl had not yet been replaced. The Rootree Rift. In March, the Rootree Company stumbled publicly as they attempt to respond to the book's release with multiple conflicting press releases and a clear lack of leadership. Clark was announced as the permanent successor to Carl Rootree and welcomed Sam Manson to the family officially. The company hired an outside legal group to handle changes to Clan's trust. This includes any new questions of lineage. 5 P's. After this announcement, there was a rash of different people claiming to be Roottrees, mostly dismissed as opportunists and scammers. The highest profile of these, by a wide margin, was a rapper named Felix Fellows, who changed his moniker to 5 P's as a publicity move at the same time. 5 P's is the only notable person on the updated tree. Rootree Mania, in another high-profile misstep, Miracle Rootree publicly and vehemently denied the 5 P's as a Rootree. The Rootree's legal team then offered to do a DNA test to get 5 P's to drop his claim, and in a moment that caught what seemed like the entire world by storm, the test proved that he was a Rootree. Suddenly, the world was obsessed with the Rootrees. Anonymon and Jane Doe Rootree. In July, an anonymous woman, who the press began referring to as Anonymom, appeared in interviews with her face and voice disguised. She claimed that an affair with a Rootree led to the birth of her daughter, aka Jane Doe Rootree. She claimed that an affair. Okay. If true, that would make her daughter yet another secret Rootree and therefore entitled to a share of the clan's trust. Nobody knew it at the time, but this turns out to be the last chapter in the Rootree Mania saga. As more and more Anonymom's stories came out, people began to notice how much it echoed 5 P's in nearly every significant way. The court of public opinion began to turn, confirming the world's suspicion that the DNA test orchestrated by the lawyers on both sides proved that her daughter was not a Rootree. This final event caused public disappointment, smugness from doubters, and countless accusations of the entire ordeal being an elaborate hoax or attempted fraud. Things got a bit ugly, and the fun of the Rootree Mania seemed to disappear overnight. Now, a month later, it feels like a distant memory. Because the public can't think and hold onto a thought for more than 30 seconds. Okay, so possible infidelity number 1 in 1921, 1949. First affair, final affair. Jeez, oh my lord. Who? Why? Infidelity and married. Infidelity and married. Why are you like this? Possible infidelity and Family tree update 1998. So someone had a kid. Okay. Oh, it would have to be her because she was pregnant, right? So... Okay. So... Major event. I'm gonna look up her name and I'm gonna, like, get the most sad looking. Alright. We're just gonna highlight, like, each individual piece. There's a lot of words, so I'm just going to do that one. Okay. Please hold for these lovely modem sounds. If you're probably older than me, you know exactly what these sound like. Please stop. Oh, hold up. Thanks for upgrading your Cashew PC to Nut OS 1.1. This upgrade includes thousands of bug fixes and enhancements. Your system should be more stable and smooth to operate. Okay, here are some of the highlights. Your computer is now ready for Y2K. We recommend shutting it down on New Year's Eve just in case. File names can be up to 20 characters long. That should be enough for everyone. Putting a CD in the drive upside down will no longer heat the plastic to a dangerous temperature. We no longer prompt you to replace the printer ink when it's still 50% full. As always, remember Cashew PCs are delicious. Hey, maybe don't eat your Cashew PC. Are not safe for human consumption. Any computer parts eaten by corporation cannot be held liable for any so-called... You know I'm searching this. Computer poisoning. Boo. But yeah, let's start with the updates to the family tree here. Which should be Stephanie Landon. Did I misspell her name? That's good. This page hasn't been visited for at least 6 months and may now be irrelevant. Ah, okay. It seems Brian Jones has been busy updating Stephanie Jones' campaign website. 2 new sections exist. The first is baby photo. There you see a picture of their new family together in the hospital. According to the site, our daughter was named after her grandmother. Her daughter was named after her grandmother, which ended up being very fitting considering she was born the night before Christmas. The second is, what's next? There's not much of substance there right now, but it is a list of small accomplishments and finishes with recent rise in popularity and controversy surrounding my extended family, there have been some extra attention on me. Stay tuned for announcements in the coming months about how I plan to use the publicity to accomplish much bigger things. Well, okay. Wait, what did the thing on the top say? There's an older version of this page. Oh, but you can... Okay. Yeah. Aha! Your faces are now mine. You for this. You for this. Okay, so this allows you to search from... it seems like the old list of names. It's Brian. Your name is London. Your occupation was a politics. And for the new name here, okay. Oh yeah, your name would be Jones. You didn't call the kid December, did you? November? No? Okay. Named for her grandmother. Mom. Clara? How would that be? How would that make sense? Oh, sorry. Ugh. See, I was wrong. I was thinking like she was over here, but that's not correct. Oh, God, stop. It's nice that, well, and she's going to be Baba. The question's going to be, what is her name, though? Her granddaughter was named after her grandmother. Carolyn? Oh, Carolyn. Stupid. Carol. Okay. Yeah, that feels pretty good there. All right, we did it. We solved one part of it. We're gonna try looking at that. Oh my lord. Okay. Well, I don't know where to start with the rest of this, so Ryan just posted this photo of his family together in the new hospital following the birth of a new child. When her daughter is wearing an adorable little Santa hat, and her wife and his wife Stephanie is giving her signature thumbs up move from her campaign launcher. So let's start by looking up. Not that. Public library. 6 pieces. Samantha Tree. She probably didn't publish under that, right? Yeah, Sam Madsen. And this will probably... Sam Manson book was released earlier this year. Details that the truth about Elias Roottree, as well as Sam's fathers, Edward Clancy Roottrees and John Miller. You helped to verify her story, so much of the book's core are familiar to you. That said, Sam had some sections on other family secrets and rumors. Much of it didn't matter to the primary purpose of the book, and some of it is new to you. It may be important to your new search. These sections have been added to your notes. Okay. Sam's book has a few different passages about her own history with the company and rumors and gossip she collected during that tenure. She ran the farm for a period starting around 1968. After the death of Ellis Roottree, until her daughter Gwyneth took over. Wait. She ran the farm for a period starting from 1968 after the death of until her daughter Gwyneth took over. Okay, that will make sense. Most of the relevant rumors coincide with the reign of Guy Hudson, who took over as president in 1978. Sam was very much not a fan of Guy, and according to 6 Pieces, it had been an open secret within the family that Guy was very much not a fan of remaining faithful to his wife, Patricia. Okay, we're just going to put a time frame on this one. 1978, Guy. Many of their hires at the time were young, single women, and Guy often spent lavish amounts of money on private parties. What a tool. This was 20 years ago, and Sam warns that most of it is hearsay. Still, you find the following information may be relevant. One of Sam's farm supervisors was named Elizabeth. Elizabeth had a daughter who Sam never met, but who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. According to Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant called come on now. Antonell? Interesting. Oh, Antonellis. That's why it's not popping up. Large number of Antonellis restaurants, not because it's a chain, just because it seems a common term for Italian restaurants. You may find a more local resource. So we're going to go to periodical. Okay, we're going to read through that in a second, but A caterer met her daughter at one of so Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant, met her daughter at one of Guy's parties. And they eloped quickly due to a pregnancy. I guess I should just get all of that in there. Elizabeth wasn't aware that the party was for swingers. Rumor has it that her daughter showed up with Guy and didn't seem comfortable switching partners. Guy's main positive contribution to the company involved expanding to markets previously untapped by the Roottrees. However, when he went on trips overseas, they were often for weeks at a time, and Guy was known for spending more time and money on unofficial business than meetings with distributors and manufacturers. It was said that he bribed at least one politician to open a factory in Brazil. See, there's also a section where Sam speculates that Ellis may have also cheated on Gwyneth. Gwyneth was always much kinder to Sam than Ellis was, and was the first to invite Sam to family events. Okay, this one's going to be 1920s. So that's the speculation. When she had no hard evidence, Sam always got the impression that Gwyneth was able to coerce Ellis into allowing Sam back into the family using some kind of leverage. Instead of it being a natural course of events, she mentioned that Ellis and Gwyneth were known to loudly argue, sometimes about another woman. Sam also says her son Ernie once asked her, "Who's Beth?" because he overheard them yelling about someone with that name. As far as Sam knows, Ellis once had a secretary named Elizabeth, a different Elizabeth from the supervisor from the farm. But she never met her. Okay. I do like the new setup here. With it being like, you can search for Elizabeth, but then you gotta find a last name. And it remembers, so you can piece together bits and pieces. I guess we need new photos, right? Because we can't just... Interesting. So there's probably going to be a... So 1921, Guy would put that, unfortunately, in, this annoying part here. Guy Hudson, friggin', you were the fourth. Guy Hudson, where'd he go? Third, he looks like a cheater. I know that's not accurate to say, but... Okay. There's so many questions, right? About, like... And it's from 1975 to 1982. So for him, dates are probably going to be, like, more important. And that's in 1978. So that range is probably somewhere in here. There's a top secret envelope again. After the whole family tree has been filled in. Okay. But I think, well, we need to still identify who the possible infidelity in 1949 is. Roughly speaking, I think that's in this range here. And so far, it's mostly been guys. So, like, this one might be the one woman-led Roottrees incident. Okay. And I guess this is technically Alice's shenanigans. Oh, right, the restaurant. This would put it in Guy's situation. It's an Italian restaurant and has been in Butler County times twice. The most recent time was when it closed in 1992. The owner, Rochelle Zimmer, sold the land the building was on, and at the time of the article, she was unsure if the restaurant would move to a new location or if she would retire. the last name might be relevant. Many years before that, there's a puff piece from Valentine's Day in 1978, which was roughly, I think, when this event happened. That asked recently married residents of Butler County how they met. Christian Garland responded she and her husband Christine, I should say, who was met years ago when she delivered produce from her mother's farm. Steve used to work extra hours just to be there for her deliveries. Although they grew apart when the restaurant switched suppliers, they reconnected by chance and eloped the end of last year. Last year being 1977 to 8? Question mark? Now she has a bun in the oven, and they both taken working as much as they can. She's a secretary, but went back to delivering produce on the weekends, trying to save up money to move to Boston and open their own restaurant. Garland, husband Steve, we can probably assume Steve. What happens if we search her name? And her husband Mark Zimmer. Please hold. Steve, okay. And her husband Mark Zimmer have a few mentions. Rochelle owned, and Mark owned a local bookstore called Bookmarks. Both closed in 1992. Mark was also mentioned once in the Butler Times when he attempted to sue Steve Okay. Getting all the local dirt, it seems. Steve Garland is mentioned in a couple of articles. The first was an article about how he met his wife, Christine, when he worked at Antoni's. The second is from months later in September of 1978, a list for his weekend cooking class, Gourmet for the Groovy. The blurb mentions that he's been giving lessons from his home kitchen for the last month so that he can keep an eye on his son. The third was from 1991 and is titled Local Author Sued by Former Neat. It seems that a local author by the name of Mark Zimmer was sued by Garland after Garland saw Zimmer's promoting his book Kitchen Tales on television. His recipe book was partially plagiarized from recipes that Steve Garland would give his students during his cooking lessons. Okay. The article mentions that although the recipes are hard to copyright, Garland accompanied each recipe with a short fiction about how he learned it. These usually double as a way to remember certain ingredients. Garland's bean salad, for example, invoked making a trade with a gnome for some magic beans. Apparently these stories were found word for word in Zimmer's cookbook in addition to additional stories. They followed the same format. Okay, that was a ton of information, but I don't know what that gets us here. Okay. Let's get back to the computer and maybe let this lie for a sec. The Roottrees Rift stumbled publicly as attempted to respond to the book's release with multiple conflicting press releases. The 3 press releases from the Roottrees Candy Company after the release of 6 pieces were referred to as the Roottrees Rift due to the clear conflicts between them. The first was fairly standard. It stated that there was no president of Roottrees Candy Company, but the entire family was made aware of the release of the book and that they would be meeting as soon as possible. Only then could they verify the legitimacy of the claims it raised and decide the next steps. Okay. The second release was emailed to business newspapers 3 hours later and announced that after a vote, Ron Roottrees, would be taking over temporarily as interim president. It also went on to state that Ron was aware the book had verified the claims within and would look into compensating Miss Manson and her family immediately. It also stated that the company's lawyers would be taking immediate steps with the family to revisit the clan's trust terms to make sure nothing like this could happen again. Ooh. It was clearly to business reporters and analysts that the time between the two pieces released would not have been logistically significant to gather a majority of the family, even using conference calls. This was reported on many news channels, and a third, much shorter press release came the next day. It claimed that a draft of the announcement was made prematurely and that Clark Rafferty LaRoe and Ron Roottrees would be taking over as the company's first joint presidents. It also stated that any compensation plan would be based on a stringent verification process. Okay. This was Roottrees Rift. First one was fairly standard. First notice. Standard. No president, please hold. Second release claimed Ron Roottrees as temp prez, but was sent super quick. No one believed it, said that they verified and would hand out money. Alright. And a third, much da-da-da, and this will also just serve as our link to get back here. Okay, this is the notable one here, which we did read about. Felix Fellows. Who is I guess, just in general musician. And if we searched 5 keys. It's a rapper who found some recent radio play after being publicly confirmed as a long-lost Roottrees and entitled to part of the fortune. His alias 5Ps is a play on 5 Pieces, an article you find on a website known for their particularly harsh reviews of modern music. Gives his most recent album, Root of All Evil, 1 star out of 7 for whatever reason. Get it? Because review sites have it's wildly inconsistent shenanigans like that. With the headline more poser than my action figure collection. Well, that's just not nice. The review mentions his real name is David, and he used to go by Dirty Davy. Okay, so his name isn't Felix whatever the frog. It's David. The author rused the fact that this rebranding was a blatant marketing stunt at the expense of his mother's tragic past. She overdosed when she was 16. Apparently, one of the songs on the album is new, and the others were simply rewritten to turn blatant references to sex, drugs, and violence into clumsy euphemisms. His rise to prominence was kickstarted when he appeared a few months ago on the cover of News Time holding a photo of his mother with Guy Hudson. At first, the Roottrees company denied it vehemently. Miracle Roottrees even appeared on the same magazine a week later. We'll probably need that. But since then, they've backtracked and publicly welcomed him to the family. Their press release at the time stated that they have new evidence that confirms his story. Namely, a drug test. It's the first major news periodical that releases new issues every month. The rapper 5Ps famously appeared on the cover claiming to be a Roottrees. Then 1 link later, Miracle Roottrees did the same thing, denying that he was. Because of the high-profile back-to-back discourse right before the start of Roottrees Mania, they appeared to be the de facto publication to get news about ongoing Roottrees saga. This report, they reported record subscriber numbers during this time, which lasted until the end of Roottrees Mania, when the world generally stopped paying much attention. And now it's a periodical. So now we can go to News Time and search up. I don't want to say his name anymore. But Pease famously appeared on the cover of News Time kicking off Roottrees Mania. Then a week later, Miracle Roottree appeared on the cover of the magazine. Summary of both articles. Okay, so I don't have to search for both. That's nice. No, the picture's too small. Look at him. He looks like a toss pop. Appeared holding in Guy. The article concerns his insistence that his father was Guy Hudson. The story was dramatic and sensational, and initially dismissed as fake until a DNA test proved that he was related to Guy Hudson. 5P says that his mother, Jonah, was Zach Morton's secretary. I'm gonna make sure that I'm on the right. Actually, this will work. When he retired, and that Guy's Hudson's secretary, and then for a week or two after that, before she quit, the first few weeks that he was president. Okay, so basically putting it at the start of his term. So yeah, his parents divorced when he was 4, and after his father learned of the affair, Felix and his mother. Oh, that's also important. Felix and his mother then moved to Portland because she was afraid for her life. Oh, neat. He grew up with her until he was 16. Wait, but didn't she die when she was 16? Wait, what? She overdosed when he was... Oh, when he was 16. Okay, when he was 16. Whoa. And it's literally going into this now. But one day his mother never came back from the movie rental store where she worked the register. The next morning, they found her dead from an overdose in her car. She had stolen all of the cash from the drawer and spent it on heroin. As Felix went through her belongings, the only thing he had to remember her by was a hairbrush she always used, some photos, and a stuffed animal from her childhood. But then he found a box hidden in the back of her closet. Inside were love letters and photos related to Guy Hudson, as well as a letter from his father containing threats. He threw it all away with the exception of the one photo that appeared in the cover of News Time. He said it was the only one where they were dressed. Oof. The only one not from the affair itself. The picture is shown in full inside the magazine and has been added to your evidence. Okay, so that's the third bit of infinite. Yeah, okay. The rapper 5P's appeared in the secretary. He claimed that Joanne and Guy Hudson, also in the photo, were having an affair at the time. This man looks old. Charlatans and thieves. Miracle Roottree appeared on the cover of News Time shortly after 5P's did. He vehemently denies that 5P's was a Roottree. The article was from before the DNA test had proved it. Miracle doesn't focus much on the details of 5P's accusations regarding his mother and Guy Hudson. Instead, he comes across as exhausted at the events and that have been going on behind the scenes, as well as the character of those he feels are attacking his family. Hi, Uncle. Oh, hey, bud. He starts with 6 pieces content. He says that although most of the book was based in fact, it left out anything that wouldn't fit the agenda. He points out that Sam's daughter still earns a generous salary for overseeing the farm division of Roottrees, and that Sam did the same before her. Sam's family was not destitute, and that really it was only her son who chose to take a job with no salary. In other words, you got paid, why are you complaining? I know you could be super rich, but you should be happy with what the scraps you got. He claims, and keep in mind that this is also supposed to be a pastor, he claims that though they didn't have to, the family helped paid for her son's medical bills after voting that it was the right thing to do. Miracle also says that the story about his father, Elias, shunning EC was one-sided, leaving out Edward Clancy's blame in the whole thing. Elias gives him a simple ultimatum: stop, sitting, or be disowned. Sounds about right. Miracle says that it was EC's own choice and that Ellis allowed him to earn food and shelter on the company's dime was a kindness, especially considering that he and John continue to live together. Oh, there's a lot of everything. There's one bit of useful information in here. Miracle then pivots to the fallout from 6 Pieces. He recounts in a deluge of claims to the Clance Trust that the family has been subjected to. He doesn't cite any specifics. Of course he doesn't. But says that every time someone comes forward, the family devolves into arguments. They've had to hire an outside legal team to help. But so far, every case has been demonstrably, laughably false. All they do is tarnish the family's reputation. He focuses on 5Ps, who appears in the News Time article before him. He called him a grifter and delinquent and says he's using their name and products to sell filth to the masses. Of all the accusation, he said the most dangerous one because it exposed the world to hatred. He cites 5P's lyrics about all those things and prays the boy will repent and retrace his lies and find religion. Whew, okay. Lastly, he turns to the future. Miracle states that those that wish to hear the true story can join him on his farewell tour this upcoming fall. Of course he does. That the Miracles Roottrees are planning to tour the country's churches one last time, and that now at age 71, Miracle is the oldest living Roottrees. While he plans to continue preaching at his own church in Butler County, after the tour, this is your last chance to hear the truth from the man who, with the most complete recollection of America's most notable family in your own hometown. The article mentions that Miracle's son, Miracle Jr., did not wish to comment and has a statement from the Clark Rafferty LaRoe. Miracle does not speak for his entire family. We're working carefully on a plan to definitively disprove any claims of infidelity in our family past. The article also does not refute Miracle's claims that he's the oldest living Roottrees, despite Sam Matson being born a year before him. It was unclear if Miracle made the claim out of ignorance or spite. I mean, I can... So your name's actually Dan, and I would assume Daniel, but now the question is... and then we have you, and then now we have an actual picture of him, and he's going to have lots of pictures, presumably with other people. Yeah, it's just retail. Okay. Then her first name is Joanne, but I don't know her last name. Okay, but if we go to Spider Search and search Gertrude Davy, maybe? Fan site is not 5P's actual name. His actual name is David Fellows. Actually, because we don't need this. 5P's previous stage name. He used to sell records. 1 Dirt Trade Devil and Dirt Poor. Curious how many of these, like, we can... No, don't do that. Yeah, I didn't think so. Discrepancy and debate about what year exactly it was released based on pop culture references. Yes, I Can Jump seems to cater to the confusion. Some fan sites, da-da-da-da. I feel like this is just a weird rabbit hole that can keep going, but... Oh. Oh, it's David. Okay. David Fellows, music. Like, there's not one for a rapper, right? Okay. I feel like that's right. Oh, we don't... I didn't put in the most recent picture for her, so that makes sense. Yeah. Hi.
Has Clark reached out to you? Well, let me give you a short history lesson about the last few months of my life. 3 different people contacted me, claiming that somewhere in their history, they might be Roottrees. First, that young man, the rapper. I ignored that one. He seemed dubious. But then I saw the news. I felt terrible, so I began helping the others. Because my doubts with Felix were so misfounded, I ended up putting too much faith in the second person that approached me.
Which, like, fair. That happens.
I went to the media prematurely. I admit my mistake there. But the third person who contacted me also had a credible case. Before I could help, the company got to them somehow. The fact that the family silenced them doesn't seem to fill me with hope when it comes to Clark's intentions. But you're making progress based on the leads he gave you. It's really hard for me to get a read on him. I'll let you handle it. I've sent you the case I've been working on, and some company records I managed to track down. The records are quite dense, but hopefully they're useful. Good luck.
Alright, well that's going to be a whole lot of new information. So for the YouTube side, we're going to call it there and continue on with the Roottrees and all these lovely, jubbly infidelities. To be fair, you gotta say, like, one mess up for the time period, not that bad. One mess up here for the time period, not that bad. Also, I just realized that this is probably Miracle because, like, I don't see a place for another one. So, like, this is almost certainly Miracle Roottree. Which I know seems silly, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, yeah, infidelity, right. KKK. So anyway, we're gonna continue on with this. We just got a whole ton of information, but until next time, YouTube, I hope that you have a good one, and if you're still enjoying, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All right, see you later.